Hey everyone, welcome to another Python programming tutorial walkthrough, where today we're going to be creating a coin toss statistics game. So for starters, I'm going to import random to allow us to randomly flip the coin with the output being heads or tails. Now I'm going to create a variable called number of rounds, and it's going to be an integer, but it's also going to be asking for an input, and we're just going to ask the user select the number of rounds you'd like to toss. So you can select 50, 100, and it will select it'll flip the coins that amount of time. Next, I'll create a variable called decision, and this will be a user input, whether that's heads or tails. I'm going to do a dot upper for this. So basically you enter H or T, whether you want your decision for the coin toss to be heads or tails throughout the entire game. I'm going to assign a variable of start game to be 0. Rounds correct, so this will be how many times your decision was correct with the randomly selected coin toss. And then also I'm going to create a list called coin, and it's going to be the two scenarios of the coin being flipped, heads or tails. I'm just going to do the characters H or T for short. Now I'm going to create a loop. I'm going to do a while loop, and it's going to run when start game is less than the number of rounds. So as you see, I had the start game being equal to 0. So say your input is 50. I'm going to eventually increment the start game by 1 each round until it gets to the number of rounds. Toss variable will randomly select the coin each time. I'm going to print it out just to show you how it works. So I didn't stop, so I need to increment start game just to show you the sample. So it will eventually break out of this loop. So let's try to rerun this. So let's say the number of rounds is 3. You're going to enter heads or tails. And look at that. Actually, we got all of them right. So it'll randomly select heads or tails for each loop it goes through. But I'm going to eliminate that and get right into the code. So I'm going to create an if statement. And if the toss is equal to the decision, so basically if the coin is correct based on our input, we're going to increment the rounds that we have correct by 1. I'm going to do an elif, and if basically we are incorrect, if toss is equal to heads and the decision is equal to tails, and vice versa, if toss is equal to tails and if decision is equal to heads, we will just pass this code. And looking back on this video I recorded, this actually isn't necessary, and later I'll show an example of me kind of eliminating it in comments just to see if it performs as intended. I can do a try and accept scenario just to make sure that the user input is correctly entered. However, I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. And lastly, after the if statement, I'm going to increment the start game by 1. So say the number of rounds is 1,000. Statistically speaking, the number of correct scenarios should be 50-50. So it's pretty interesting seeing how the outcome is when you look at it from a statistics perspective. So I'm going to create this win percentage variable and just going to divide the number of rounds correct by the number of rounds and multiply that by 100. I'm going to do a formatted string, and I'm going to print out the correct number of rounds out of the total number of rounds we input. And then I'm going to do another formatted string, and this time I'm going to display the win percentage. So as you increment the number of rounds, the closer you should be getting to 50%. So it'll be just interesting to see how things line up. So let's try some scenarios on printing this out. So here we're prompted with our number of rounds we would like to play. Let's just say 10. We only got 3 out of 10. So if we increase the number of rounds, we'll see getting closer and closer. There we have 54%. There we got almost 50% on the dot, nearing 51. Here I'm now commenting out the elif and else statement, and it actually doesn't really affect anything in the code. So it's kind of just wasted space. Wow, we increased to 1,000. We got 50.3. Let's get to 10,000. Let's see what we got here. We're still around 50%, which is really cool. Just kind of going through the statistics behind it all. And that kind of concludes the little tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And I hope to see you guys in another video here soon. See ya.